Most men don't wake up one day and decide to walk away from God. They don't announce it. They may not even think about it. They just slowly start to drift. One missed prayer, one missed Sunday at church, one compromise that maybe you shouldn't have made. Those little things. And they look back and they realize they're further from God than they've ever intended. Here's the deal. It happens to good men. The Bible actually warns about these exact things. See, when these things happen, it's not a quick process. Anytime these things happen, it's a gradual thing. So subtle, we're being drawn away, we don't even realize it. Hebrews 2:1. Therefore, we ought to pay greater attention to the things that were heard, lest perhaps we drift away. See, the thing with drifting, it's quiet, it's subtle. Think about when you're sitting on a raft in a swimming pool or on the lake. You're sitting out there on the lake and you're on a raft, or you're just relaxing, and then you look up and you're so far away from bank. You ever had that? Maybe you haven't had it, but you've seen it, right? That's why they use this terminology to describe this, because it's something that just happens subtly as we're just float away. Because just like I described where we were, when you're floating on a raft or something like that, it really is a good analogy, because it's something we float away when we're not paying attention. And those are the same things, the subtle things, the little things in our walk with Christ that just slowly, if we're not careful, if we're not pressed in the Word, that's why we hear these same things over and over and over again. Because this is for me too. When I'm not pressed in, when I'm not reading my Bible, when I'm not talking to Jesus, before you know it, you're starting to slip back into things of the world that you may not even, you may have never swore in your mind you'd never do again, and then you realize, here I am again. Listen to what Revelation 2, 4, and 5 says. But I have this against you, that you left your first love. Remember, therefore, from when you have fallen, and repent, and do the first works. See, this church still believed. They still showed up. They still done all the religious things. But what happened was their love for God had grown cold. And I'm going to go one step farther. I heard somebody say one time that had done some not good things, had hurt people that he was above as a church leader. But he said something very important, and that was, the question was, when did you stop loving God in order, to do these things, these terrible things? And he looked right at the guy and he said, I never stopped loving God. I stopped fearing God. See, we always have to be in reverence of God. Thankful that he is just and he's true and he is loving. We can never forget that he is the creator of all things and he is worthy of everything. Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it is the wellspring of life. Everything flows from our heart. You know that, we know that. When we reflect on things, if we've got stuff in our heart, we've got pent up anger, aggression, resentment, unforgiveness, we can bury those things for a while. But they come out. How many times in your life have you been upset with somebody or frustrated or aggravated about whatever, and you try to bury it and you try to do whatever, but then eventually a situation will arise and it comes out, right? It does every time, every single time. That's a pure sign that we haven't truly given it all to God, that I haven't given it all to God, that I haven't surrendered it all to God. See, most men, we don't destroy our lives overnight. These are things that happen slowly as we drift. We drift away from God. We drift away from our morals. We drift away from whatever the things are, our responsibilities. And then things just start piling up on us. And guess what? You get to a point where you feel the load so heavy, and everybody's got a point. The load's so heavy to where you just throw your arms up and you submit. You submit to whatever the mess is, whatever the things that you've created, you've allowed to happen in your life. But the solution is always to stay locked into God. For me, for you, and let me be completely honest with you guys. This is why community is so important, and our relationship with Jesus overall. We have to surround ourselves with believers. We have to stay in the Word. We have to pray. Because if I don't, I've seen it in my own life and I've seen it in so many others. When we don't, it's never good. It's never a good thing. Luke 15:20. He arose and came to his father. But while he was still far off, his father saw him and was moved with compassion, ran, fell on his neck, and kissed him. This is the encouraging part. You guys know this story? He had spent his inheritance. He had, lived in sin, walked away. But the Father's heart is always for us when we turn back to Him. We repent. We just give it all back to Him. Something interesting about that verse is that it says when the son was still far away, the father turned to run to him. All we have to do is turn back to God. We can't run far enough. When we turn around and we lay it all down, there He is, standing right there with His arms open wide. This ain't a worldly relationship to where the first things that are going to be said is brought up or all the things you've done wrong. No. This is so much bigger and deeper than that. As we close, if you feel like you're drifting away, you're not alone. It happens to all of us. Whether it's only for a few minutes, for a day, whatever it is. Just turn around. The Father's heart is always for a relationship with us, individually. Remember, He is the head. We are the body. I love you guys. Stick around next week. We'll just continue this discussion. Remember, feed your critters, love your neighbor, follow Jesus.